All right. Sorry about that. So my phone cut out. Let me just invite Mariana. Oh no, I'm frozen. Okay, we're back.
We're back.
So I don't know where you lost me. Um,
We were just opening it up to questions, and you had
yeah.
asked me, was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? And I do have one more thing. So there's this thing that you actually taught me, which was like strategy and structure is like the bands of the river. Is that like, am I getting it totally off?
No,
Right?
yeah, riverbanks.
The river banks, the bands. Yeah, that's my ESL speaking. So the banks of the river, right? But you also still need water, like to flow through that. And but you can't really have a river without the banks, right? Like you need both. And I think that it's really helpful to everyone to like really examine the both sides, right? There's one that we're going to tend to lean more towards, right? Or one that we're going to tend to be away from a little bit more. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Maybe you can talk about it because you can probably talk about it way better than me. But I found that like that flow and that like rhythm is is where I've thrived the most.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's really coming to me too is like, so, each time that you had the burst of things really working for you, right? So when you did the health coaching and it's like you filled your practice super easily, and then you did business coaching and you filled those spots super easily, you got to, 10K, 15K months. And then you switched gears, right? You started doing like the Facebook ads and the consulting. So each of these times you you were following that river, right? You were following the flow of your intuition, your passion, this deeper water, this deeper rhythm that was moving through you, and then the structure supported that. And then when things started to not work, right? So you weren't getting the responses on your Facebook posts. So like, let's just say when you were doing the business coaching for moms, right? So you got to the place where you had the full practice and whatnot. And then it's like, okay, well, why aren't my posts getting attention? Or why am I doing a challenge? And it's like, I used to get, 100, 200, however many people. And it's like now not a lot of people are signing up. So you were still doing the structure, right? And so it's like then the structure wasn't working, so then we go back to the river, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like then checking back in with like, okay, well, how am I feeling about this? And where is my rhythm? Where is my passion? What is it that I'm desiring and wanting? And then when we start to move through that again, right, and like recreate the structure to support that water, then you get the you get the results again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think like the structures are basic things, right? Like in case anyone's like, I don't know what that mean, right? Like what are we talking about with structure? For me anyways, and I don't know, maybe it's different for you, but for me the structure is like the more like, okay, you're going to come up with your offer and you're going to promote it and you're going to share it, right? Or like even more tangible things like my schedule, right? Like I have my calendar and I have, the structure of that calendar and the hours and whatever, right? But then there's, okay, did I schedule time for flow? Like, did I schedule time to like be down, to be off, right? Especially when you're juggling all these things, right? You're a mom, if you are, right? You have run the household, right? Like you got to have dinner. um those kinds of things, like they require certain level of preparation, but also like a certain level of creativity and flow, right? Like if I was like, these are the three ingredients I'm going to use all week on my dinners, like it would just not be the same. Like it would not be yummy.
Mm. Totally. Yeah, and I think I know for me, my offer is like the most essential thing. Once
A
I'm
million
clear on
percent.
my offer, then usually the other pieces start to fall into place. And if I don't know what I want to offer, I like to give myself a structure around it, right? So give myself a time frame. One, like, okay, well, I want to know by this week, I want to have an idea or I want to have some clarity as to the next step. But then once we give ourselves that container, then we lean into the feminine, So then it's like, okay, well, how do I need to nurture myself, right, to be able to get this clarity? So is it going to the beach? Is it going for a walk? Is it soaking in the tub? Maybe it's getting on a bunch of connection calls. Like that could actually, um, for me at times, like actually connecting with people and talking to people, it does nurture my feminine energy because when I'm in, one of the I remember when I was like in the early stages of bringing my business online, I used to always pull the card, when I get nervous, focus on service. When you get nervous, focus on service. So when I would start to get into this like lack of clarity, wishy-washy place, I always knew that once I have a client in front of me, like I can totally drop into channel mode, spirit mode, hold space for them, like most of the time. And I remember, working with Lacey, she used to always tell me this, but who's more qualified than you? And I'm like, I always felt super confident once I had a client in front of me, but I wasn't always confident in the marketing piece. So when I would get nervous about the needing to get clear on an offer and all those things, I would just ask myself, like, okay, well, how can I serve? How can I like just connect with people and talk to people? Because then I would get more clear. They would be my
Mhm.
mirror of like, oh, okay, well, this is what people are needing and this is where I can help them.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what my whole brand is centered around, right? It's making a difference in the world with your work. And there's no better way to do that than service, right? Like, I used to be a nurse, like, it's all about service, right? Like, and I totally agree with you 1,000%. And I feel the same way. I love to, like, there's a way to, like, if we're trying to see too big of the picture, right, like if we're trying to strategize for like 5 6 months all the offers for the whole year, it can start to feel either heavy or like wishy-washy, that wishy-washy that you were describing. And so I think like really just grounding in what's my next step, what is my next offer, and then just doing that, because once you have that win, you can then just move on to the next one, right? But if you don't have the win because you're still undecisive, or you're still like kind of looking at things and trying to get all the things instead of the next thing, then you don't have the win, so you're not going to have the confidence again for the next one. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and James were actually having a conversation about this weekend because he's such a visionary and like he can see strategy, he can like dream things and like want to get there, but he's not good at like being here and taking the steps right now to get to the strategy, to get to the big
Hmm.
picture.
I
And
kind of know what that's like. Maybe. I mean, like, only every day.
so, yeah, what we're talking about is like just asking the question. You could even just ask the question every day, right? Like, okay, what do I need to do today to get to this?
Yeah.
And it gives you some tangible, grounded steps.
Yeah, totally. That's a great daily tip, especially for us visionary type people.
Totally. So good. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming chat with us today. And do you want to share with people how they can find you or work with you if they're wanting some more of your goodness?
Sure. So you can find me at impactdrivenentrepreneur.com. That's my website. And we have a Facebook group, the Impact Driven Entrepreneur, and podcasts, like all the whole works, And I'm going to be coming out with my second book, which I'm so excited about, hopefully by December, but that deadline seems to be creeping every day, like a little bit further. But you know, it's coming. You know, it's in progress. So yeah, super exciting.
So exciting. So thank you again. And if anyone is watching the replay, if you have questions, drop them below. Mariana's in this group, so you can tag her, and I'm sure she'll be happy to come back and answer them for you.
Yay, thank you.
Sending you
Thanks for
lots
having
of
me,
love.
Lindsay.
And you're welcome. So we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.